And we are recording. Life is good. We talked about conditionals and if statements, right? You have if, the keyword if, parentheses, a condition. What is a condition? A Boolean, right? A Boolean expression. An expression that evaluates to a Boolean, right? A predicate is also another fancy name for it. And then potentially an else. The else is not required. If you don't put it, then nothing gets done, right? After the if, the execution will continue below, right? Cool. We also talked about the switch statement, which has a switch, an expression. In this case, this expression would usually not return a Boolean. Should return an integral, something that looks like an int. Cars and bikes and longs and those kinds of things, right? And then we put cases, and whenever this expression evaluates to one of these values, then it will do this stuff until it sees a break, right? If you don't put breaks, it will actually fall through the labels and keep doing this stuff, right? All this is cool? So let's go do 500 examples. Okay. We have the marginal income tax rates for a country, and I think it was the USA in 2015, for people filing as single are this, right? If your minimum income is between 0 and 9,225, you pay 10%. If it's between 9,226 and 37 and peanuts, you pay 15% over that piece, right? So how can we write this function? Tax rate for singles. What do we return? Numbers, right? 10, 15, right? It's 10%, 15%, so we return 10 or 15, right? Integers. Public static int, this guy, and what do we get? What's our input? We could make it an int or we could make it a double, whatever you guys feel like. What would you like? Let's make it an int and assume that there is no. Right? Let's do this. Oops, and income. If income is less than 0, we return 0. We could use else ifs, or we could just keep using ifs because we are returning. What do you guys prefer? Ha ha ha! You express the preference and I do the reverse. That's how it works. Income less than or equal to this, right? Actually, this should be less than or equal to 0. we return 10, right? Right? Ah, we messed up, but that's okay. This is 39.6, so we actually need to return a double, right?
So why is that?
Because this is 39.6, so I can't return it, right?
So it wouldn't be a problem because double is not precise?
It would be a problem-ish, yes. It could be a problem depending on what you're doing with it. Java actually has a big decimal class that, for the most part, lets you do unbounded precision arithmetic. But for the purposes of this class, we'll assume that doubles are good enough. The accountant in here will actually despise me for that, but it's okay. Usually, within these kinds of things, it would be close enough that you wouldn't matter. Maybe. Floats are mess. We'll just assume that they are precise enough. How about that? Return 28. Actually, let me cheat and do this. Actually, we just did 28. $35. Oops. So now we can try testing this. $10,000, we should expect to get what? For 10,000, we would get 15, right? For 100,000, we would expect to get 20, and for a million, we would expect to get 39.6, right? So if we run this thing, yay, sort of kind of works, right? What's your name? Mariam, Mariam's question about a float versus an actual precise number, right, is important. We are seeing 39.6, right? What is actually being stored in the machine is not 39.6. Or, yeah, because decimals are not, they are irrational in binary. Most decimals are irrational in binary. So you can't actually represent 39.6. It's something very close to that. When Java prints it, the printing code is smart enough to stop it at 39.6, right? Kind of round. But it's not quite precise. However, for purposes of this exercise, using if statements, it's close enough. Right? Cool. Now, tax amount for singles. Actually, one question. Could we have done this with a switch statement? Or easily, you can always do. What do you guys think? No, right? Because we don't have exact values. We have a bunch of numbers, right? Between 9,225 and 37,450. Right? We wouldn't really want to write all those things. We don't have precise, exact values. So when you're using ranges, if statements make a lot more sense. Tax amount for singles. Now we need to calculate the amount, right? How can we do that? How do you calculate the actual amount of tax given those numbers? Could I just get the tax rate and multiply the amount by the tax rate?
Income star.
Sorry?
Income multiplied by that function.
Would this work?
Yes.
Or you guys have never paid taxes, right? You guys haven't filled out your forms by yourselves. In the U.S., these are marginal tax rates, right? So what does that mean? If you make say $10,000, right? You pay 10% over the first 9,225, and then 15% over the rest. Does that make sense? So you don't actually pay 35 or 39.6% of your total income. You pay it only on the top, on the stuff that you make above that thing. Does that make sense? Yeah, so this would return the wrong thing, right? We need to do some sort of if statement, right? Well, that's wrong too, but at least it looks more like what it would do. Now, what can be our algorithm? What can we do? Right? Imagine that you have 10,000, right? How would you calculate that? Minus 9225, right? Plus, so if I had 10,000, right? I would pay I would pay 922.5, right? Plus income times 0.1. Income minus 9225 times 0.1, right? No, sorry, never mind. In this case, it's 0, right? So it's just this, right? On this one, I'm gonna pay 10% of 9,225 plus this stuff. Does this make sense? I could go do this, right? All over. In fact, I think that's how the instructions for the tax forms look like. So that's one way. I would need to calculate all the other stuff, right? What's my base thing? Another way that I could do it is go adding at every step. Does that make sense? Adding. So if you have above 9,000, right? Then I'm gonna add whatever you have in that bracket. And then if you have, I'm gonna add whatever you have on the other bracket, and so on. Let's,
I didn't get the first calculation.
okay.
Income is less than equals to 9225.
Yes.
Then return income minus 9225. So the income is
No.
less than.
Never mind. Wait. You're okay. Let's see. Wait, I'm an idiot. Yeah, that is true. Wait, no. My thing. Oh, never mind. Then yeah.
Income into 0.0.
Yeah. So this should be just income.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're right. You're right.
What will be the next?
Sorry?
What will be the next? Because
It would really be, and we have something wrong because we have 20 twice. And I just put 20 for no particular reason, and you guys didn't. You guys didn't.
28 is like
It's 15, 25, and 28. You just believe me. Oh, that is a 28. So that's good. Right? So here you would need to pay 922.5 plus 0.15 times 37,450 minus 922.5. I have no clue what that is, right? We could actually calculate this and plug that number. This one is not, this stuff is actually a constant. Plus, wait, no. Yes. plus 0.25 times income minus 937 450.
I think in every case, the tax amount should be income multiplied by tax rate.
No, in the U.S., right? They give you marginal tax rates. So imagine that these were actually nice round numbers, right? Imagine that we had 10,000 and 40,000, right? So that I can speak, right? Imagine that we have less than 10K, you pay 0%, right? Less than 40, you pay 10, and less than 60K, you pay 20, right? And above, you pay 30%, right? In the US, these are marginal tax rates. So if you make, say, 50K, you don't pay 10% of the whole 50K, or actually 20% of the whole 50K, right? You pay 10% of 40K, right? Actually, you pay 10% of 30K, right? You pay 0% of the first 10K, then 10% of the next 30K, and then 20% of the actual 50K. Does that make sense? This is not math, this is accounting, right? I mean, this is how taxes work. Actually, this is how taxes work in most, well, I have no clue what most countries do. I know Mexico and the US, this is how taxes work in both places, right? If not, you would end up with the point where it actually hurts you to make one more dollar because you go over the next bracket and now you pay more in taxes than what you made extra. So most countries that have some sort of income tax, they have marginal tax rates. Does that idea make sense? This is accounting, not.
Is it possible to make it in the easy way, like in the terminal operator?
You could, but that would actually make it look uglier, right? In reality, it's not that bad. What they normally give you is somebody computes this number, right? Which we could, right? This is nothing magic. This Bing does the right thing. Yay! Right? So I just pay $5,000, right? Plus.
So this amount of earning, the income, is without deduction.
Yeah, this is assuming that what you're giving me. Oh God. What the heck is this guy's problem? This. Copy. Yeah, in the US, you get to deduct a lot of stuff.
Like this generally, like I'm asking just for information. That is that tax on the income after deduction or?
In the US, it is after
No, it's
deduction.
gross. I guess it's gross.
Or is it?
No. Like, imagine you make 100K, right? Hopefully, that's the norm a couple of years from now, right? You make 100K, and you're single, which may or may not be the case. Let's use some example, right? You get to deduct 12K, 12,600 or something like that for being alive. So as head of household, you deduct something like 12,000. If you were married, for every dependent, you deduct something like 3,500 or something like that. And then from actually, there is a bunch of other stuff that gets deducted. First of all, you end up paying 7% Social Security. Actually, you end up paying something like 7% for Social Security and the other thingy, Medicaid.
Federal income tax.
Sorry?
Federal state tax.
Federal.
Actually, state taxes are deductible at the federal level, but in a weird way. I think you deduct them from the next year or something like that. I don't remember how it is. But you basically deduct the 7% that you paid for Social Security. So instead of 100, you're starting over 93K, right? And then depending on the other stuff, you may deduct the stuff that you pay for your insurance, right?
College.
College, you pay 3K, right? So just 90, then you deduct the 12, right? And you pay taxes over the 78 or something like that is left. And this stuff applies for that 78 or for that, whatever. That's for normal people. There's all sorts of weird things that you can do, right? The normal tax calculations are actually fairly easy. It's just there is 500 other tiny rules. You have what?
If you have kids, it's better for you.
Yes, you pay less taxes.
Yes.
You spend obscene amounts of money on them, but you pay less taxes.
What about the expenses that kid brings?
Yes.
What the tax saving?
But it's your child. You will not.
So here, let's go calculate this thing, right? So now it's 51625.
Is it going to be in midterm? Exam,
Yes.
something like that?
No.
Thank you.
It's actually not that bad, but now this guy, right? Oh, wait. This guy. And so on. Does this make sense? Let me, rather than finish this, we'll leave it as an exercise to the reader. Let's do it the other way. We have min. Leave this one as incomplete. What we can do is use an accumulator. We start at 0, right? We say tax plus equal, not the full income, right? But the minimum between income and 9225. And now we don't use else's. we're gonna add this, right? We are gonna add this. Oh, actually now we need the reverse. Oh.
So if income is greater than 9,000, why do you put minimum income? Because it's
That is true. Let me think.
income minus 9,000?
No. This would work. And then with the need if statements, we just do. Oh no, because that wouldn't work either. No, I went off track here. We would need to do so that if you are below, you do 0, right? And if not, so we actually need max between 0 and actually need max. And we need them as doubles. Yeah. Yeah, and then it's not a good example of an if statement. Never mind, because we would just do this. No, never mind, I'm doing dumb things. This wouldn't work either. Right? So we need some way to... Never mind. That's why I was saying that we should do it that way, above. Does that make sense? Sorry about leading you guys astray. But at least we learned about taxes, right? Find a max4 function that takes 4 integers and returns the largest one by calling max2. We have this max2. Let's go back into if statements and things like that, right? We have max2. How can we define max4? Takes A, B, C, and D. We could do a bunch of nested if statements, right? Or we could just do what? Max2 of right? So function applications work. Does this idea make sense? This is not so much ifs as if you can do something simple and reuse it, do something simple. Make this stuff so that your things are the simplest possible things, and then you don't have to be super smart or anything like that. You just ooh, did you guys bring your phone? This one is cool. If you look at your phone,
Numbers.
yes, and you try to dial, it's one of the few places where I will tell you to actually look at your phone, right? If you try to dial, do they have it? Yes, right? Look at your phone. Let's do phone keyboard. Let's look at an image now. Phone numeric keyboard. Yeah! God. Okay, this one. I wanna look, yeah. Okay. The number 1 corresponds to no letters, right? The number 2 corresponds to ABC. Number 3 is DEF, right? Does this idea make sense?
Yeah.
That's why they told you, right? 1-800-JENNY 2020. What was Jenny? I don't know.
Like Xfinity.
Yeah, 1-800-Xfinity or 1-800, right? They get converted, right? Does that make sense? So, let's do a function that takes a phone letter, like A, B, C, right? And returns the corresponding digit. Does that make sense? What would it look like with if statements?
What about switching it if?
Okay, let's try first an if, right? Because we're practicing both. If or car, let's call it L for letter, right? How would we do it with an if? L equals what? It's A, B, and C, right? A or L equals B or L C. Return 2. One doesn't.
Voice message.
Yeah. For some reason, they decided 1 and 0 actually don't map to anything. But 1, you could say this, L equals 2, I'm going to return 2. And so if L equals 1, return 1, right? Why are we using single quotes?
Because character.
It's a character, not a string, right? For strings, we use
Double.
double quotes, right? Does this make sense? So we can do DEF is 3.
In the end, what we should happen?
We need to do something, right? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 0. That's easy, right? 0 is 0. space. Something, right? We haven't seen how to raise exceptions and do other kinds of things to signal errors, so you just have to come up with what do I return, right? And so 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, right? Then we'll just go and replace those things. GHI for 4, right? Or 4, right? Then
JKL.
J, thank you, K, L, or 5 would make me return 5, right? Keep in mind that since we are returning, we don't really need else, right? We could also make them else ifs. Whatever you prefer, right? We just made JKL, MNO. Or 6. And then
There's PQRS for
oh, and I'm actually wrong all over. Sorry.
TUV.
And then W,
X,
X, Y, and Z. Static. Actually, just to be consistent with our black magic public static, right? Five, 3, 6, right? Does anybody remember any of those things? So we could try? Nah. If you see any propaganda numbers, that's how it works, right? You have dialed this kind of stuff, right? Now, this would be a lot better, actually, to do with a switch statement, right? Let me replace this one with if. Now let's do it with a switch, right? How do we do it? What are we switching on? Switch, what's our expression to switch on? What's the expression that we're going to check its value? The character that it was passed, right? Case 1 would return 1. Case 2 or A or B or C, we return right? So we just did this, right? Now if it's 3 or D or E or F, we are going to return 3. Does this idea make sense? So it's just syntactical substitution, right? This one is gone now. JKL, right? Five, it's gonna be 6, 7, 8, 9, 0 only, right? And then our default case is a space, right? So now let me go fix this, guys. Where are we getting the red stuff? Yes. It is telling me that I'm repeating, and so it can only do one of them, right? PQRS. TU and B? X, Y, Z, but I skipped W, right? Oops.
It won't work. Yeah, you have 7.
Ah. It just, oh, because this one should be 8. Thank you. Pair programming works. So we got 5, 10, 6, right? Is this cool or what? And we can do it with switches and with if statements, right? Who's gonna come and do digit to word? Who's volunteering before we nominate a volunteer? You've been volunteering.
I'm not good volunteer.
Sorry?
I said I'm not good volunteer. Let someone else go.
You've been voluntold. How about that? You've been voluntold. Would you please someone do it?
Get a lot of help.
It is perfectly okay, right? That is why we are here to learn. So it is perfectly okay to not get it in the first try of that, and we'll do pair programming or
Okay, this is a class exercise.
yeah.
Okay, so what am I doing? Where's the?
I'm going to use an if for a switch. What would you rather use? You
Which,
get to pick.
which do you put? Okay. It doesn't matter. Which is easier?
Probably the switch would be
Okay.
easier. So you use the keyword switch.
Can I just copy this?
Yeah, you can.
Should I go on?
Copy the first 2 or 4 lines and then, right? And copy. Not the function, just the switch and then the next couple of lines. That gives you
Oh.
control. Sorry, Apple's the
Oh,
Apple
this
is a
is
really
the Apple.
weird
Okay.
key.
How do I hit undo?
It's this guy, Z. And then this and C copies. And then once you get there, that same key and V pastes. Macs are weird. They don't use the control key. They use.
Okay. You want me to start down here?
No, it is right there, line 245.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just plain V.
Yeah. No. This guy, the Apple key and the V.
Okay.
Yep.
You sure
And
don't
then
want to
paste
get
it.
someone else up here to do this?
No. It is good. So
Okay.
what are we gonna switch? What's our expression?
Case one, return.
No, what's the expression that we're switching on? What's the expression that we're trying to get the values, right? It's digit, right? So instead of L, we do digit.
Just, do you want to do the whole word or?
Yes, but which word? Look at the parameter. What's the name of the parameter?
Where am I looking? I'm sorry.
Look at the function, the line above, right? We are defining the function,
Digit to word.
digit to
Okay.
word, but what's the parameter that we're passing?
Digit.
Digit.
Mm.
So that's the variable that you're
Okay.
cool. Yeah, just click somewhere else and it will go
Okay.
away. Yeah. Now case 1, right? That's good. What do we return? If they pass the number 1, then to return the word 1.
Okay.
And we need double quotes because it's a string, not a character. So
So leave one here.
just delete those 3 characters, just 3 backspaces or delete. The Macs don't have backspaces. And now return the string 1. So double quotes and then the letters O and E.
Okay.
Does that make
I
sense?
see. Digit to word. Okay. Okay.
Would case one not need to be a string either, or?
What if that the digit 1, right, is
Oh, that's
matching
it,
the
that's
expression
it.
digit,
Yeah,
which is a
you're
character.
right, you're right.
Oh, sorry, actually no.
No,
It's an int, so we need to delete the characters from there and make it just 1. The line above,
Mm-hmm.
just delete the single quotes around the digit 1. Because it's an integer, not a character.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Okay.
So now just cut and paste those 2 lines 10 times. Or, sorry.
Okay. You did command Apple.
Apple C copies.
Okay.
And Apple B pastes. And you select with the mouse. Oh God, never mind. Yeah, perfect. Apple C copies, and then yeah, go down. Enter. Then Applebee. Yeah, every self-respecting laptop has to be completely different than everybody else, right? And the Mac has really weird.
So how do we define when we do A twice, we should wait and see when we do two, three times, like old cell phones?
On the you would need to. There would be a different kind of function, right? You would be passed a string, right? Of
It should be a scan function, or
for reading, if you're reading from the keyboard.
how do we tell it when we put two times? It has B. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. The way they did it on the phone, right? It would be when you press, it would need to wait, right? So you would really be pressing 2 space or something like that, right? So you would have a function that reads, gets that string as an input.
Scan function.
Scan function. Scan is reading, right? You would use next card. You would use scanner, a scanner, and then you would use next card, right? Or something like that. It's not quite the same. The scanner in Java assumes that you have like a keyboard as opposed to something like a phone, right? And you don't have a concept of time on the keyboard. Yeah, it would be something like that. We are forgetting one poor guy.
Zero. So do I put it above or below?
Whatever you prefer. When I think of digits, I put the 0 at the end because it's 10. But then we need to do something when they send us something else, right? How can we do that? Default, or either we close the switch right there and then return outside, right? Or we return something on the default case, whatever you prefer.
Okay, so what do I do now?
Put a brace, a closing brace.
Okay.
It doesn't matter, it will put it the right way. Just press enter and then a closing brace.
Enter and
Let's go. And that is cool, right? If you work with your editor, press enter and close the brace. It will put it on the right place.
okay.
One way we could do it is in here, just have a return statement and return something like invalid digit. Or, it has to be a digit or something like that.
Default.
Enter.
Sorry?
Default.
You could also put it as the default case inside the switch. Return space and just something else.
So you want me to put return?
And then you can do like invalid, just as a string. Right? We haven't seen how we can, yeah, but it has to be in quotes.
Yes, that.
Yep. Cool.
Okay.
Then a semicolon at the end, and then put. Cool.
That's
Thank
it.
you.
Okay. Woo.
Thank you. Good, you see, you actually learn more by doing it, because it will hopefully it will stick better. Then we just come and print the stuff, right? We make it public static, yeah. So 1, let's do 1, 3, and 7. Ah! Oh, somehow we entered an extra character there. Woohoo! Cool. Any questions? Any other examples that we want to do? I'm purposefully not talking about assignment 2 because GitLab was down. So I gave everybody until Friday, right? Which doesn't mean that you shouldn't start assignment 3. But GitLab was down since yesterday afternoon until today-ish afternoon. It is back up. People have been sending pull requests.
Working Eclipse. So do we have to make that known again or something like that?
No, what you probably have to do in Eclipse is /gradlew Eclipse.
I did, but I cannot see.
We can fix your problem, right? But /gradlew Eclipse inside the A whatever folder will generate, and then you would still need to import it into Eclipse. Right? If there is nothing else, let me give you back 15 minutes of your life, and rather than confuse you with recursion, I will confuse you with recursion next week.